Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Collection Mania Monday, and today we're going to take a closer look at the Schpirerr Farben colored pencils. I have the full set here. I think it's a 96, 92, 96 set. Hold on a sec, let me check. I think it's a 96 set. Yeah, 96. I have the full 96 set here in the bag. I also have the 72 set here in my bucket. The 72 set I've had for a long time. When they upgraded the set, I bought the new set. I have to re-swatch these on my own swatch at some point, but I will be doing that probably later on today or tomorrow, or when I can get to it. It's so busy right now. But we'll take a look at the swatches. You can go to the Schpirerr Farben website and download the Schpirerr Farben swatch that has all the names and numbers in place. So you can just download that as well. So let's take a look at the pencils. They haven't changed much. There is a few new colors, like for example, this one here is Pointy Shoe, which is kind of a cool name. They have a color dip down here with the Schpirerr Farben logo, as well as the name and the number on the pencil. That's probably not the best one to show you that. So as you can see, it has the name and the number on the pencil and the logo and that sort of information. I do not believe they are light fast rated or light, whatever. I don't know. You would have to contact Schpirerr Farben and find that information out. When I bought them, I wasn't too worried about that. I'm still not too worried about that. I color in coloring books and that sort of thing, so I don't have any problems with colored pencils that aren't light fast rated. However, if you do artwork that you're selling or are specifically going to be hung on your walls, that sort of thing, you might want to check the light fast rating. Of course, that is completely up to you. I'm just telling you what I have in my collection. This is not a review of these pencils. It's just some information about which pencils I have in my collection, and so showing you all the wonderful things in my collection and how well they work, and whether or not maybe they've been in my collection too long and I haven't used them enough and should get rid of them. So far I haven't had that problem. So but these are the Schpirerr Farben. They start here with white. Let's see, I'm going to turn this so that you can see what's going on here. They start here with white. I'm going to fold this under so that we can see the whole set. There we go. So they start here with white. They go into the light yellows, into the light browns, into the peachy tones, into the oranges, the reds, and then the pinks. And then on this side, we have our pinks into our purples. It's got a really good range of pinks into purples, and then a huge selection of blues. Into our teal colors, which is a great selection of teal colors as well. Our watercolors, our aquatic colors. And then into our greens. This is one of my favorite greens and has kind of made me addicted to green gray. And then into our darker browns, into our grays. This set has a really good selection of grays as well, where the previous set only had two or three. So this one has about 5 or 6, 7. And I did have some issues with a couple of different pencils in this set when I got it, with a broken core. But that's a shipping problem. That's not a problem with the set itself. And I should have sent them back, but by the time I figured it out, it was a little late. And I might actually switch. Let's see, is the black in here really short? I keep on switching colors in and out. So if one's really short in the cup, I'll switch it with the one in the bag, but the one in the cup shorter. So and I use the ones in the cup, keeping the ones in the bag until I have used up the ones in the cup, because I have a few that are, getting there, getting really short, like this one here. This one here is one of my shorties. It's to a point where, I think it's this color here actually, where, you can see what the color is, but that's about it. So yeah. But that is the set. We'll look at the swatch. As you can see, this is an old swatch. So we've got our white into our yellows, into our light tan colors and light browns, into our peachy orange colors and our light skin tones, into our oranges, and then into our reds. There's not a lot of reds in this set. The original set was only 2 reds. Now there's 3 or 4, but still not nearly enough red as far as I'm concerned. It has a great selection of pink, though. It does have a really good selection of pink as well as purple. A good selection of blues into the greens. And then from the greens to the browns and grays. Now these ones here are all of the new colors. So we have ivory, pointy shoe, there's no place like home, blooming bouquets, pink bubblegum. I just love the names. Sassy pink. I love that. And so on. I do have these all mixed in, so that's another reason why I need to do another swatch so that I can put these into where they need to be. These are an oil-based pencil, which is really good to me because I prefer the strength of an oil-based pencil compared to a wax-based pencil. Now the difference between wax-based and oil-based, just so that is an oil-based pencil is predominantly oil in their base. So they still have wax in them, but they are more oil than wax. Where with a wax-based pencil, it's wax. They still have a little bit of oil in them, but it's predominantly wax. Okay, so we're going to color. If we can get the close-up, actually in focus here. Just give me a second. I always get them all in focus, and then they sit there and decide, okay, well, I'm not going to be in focus anymore. There, I think that's the best we're going to do. And turn that up a little bit. There we go. Now this is on tan tone paper. It is not the the desert storm or anything. I really do need to take a look at the desert storm. I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. So move it so that it's looking at the spot that I'm going to be coloring. There we go. So I'm going to color this one here, and I'm going to try to get as much of it done as possible. We may end up going a little bit longer than I want to, and that sort of thing, but we will try our best to get as much of it done as we can. So I'm going to start with maple, and we're going to color the boat. And this is just a base coat for the boat. And as you can see, it lays down quite quickly and quite evenly. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this. I don't want to use up the tooth of the paper. Though you can layer these very, very nicely. They do layer upon layer upon layer. So there's our, and then we're going to take a bit of burnt sienna. And I'm just doing a little bit of it and extending it out. Giving that wood a little bit of texture, a little bit of color. And of course I will be also going through this with another brown as well, and putting in that darker edge to all of the boards on the boat. And we may extend from there. So now I'm going to take, I think it's chocolate. So we're going to take some chocolate brown. I like chocolate brown. One of my favorite colors in this set. Chocolate and coffee. Usually two of my favorite colors in brown, in the dark browns. I'm just darkening up that edge a little where it's pointing away from the sky. And the inside of the boat. And this is the free page done by Rita Berman for her new book. I think it's Travels in Europe. I can't pronounce the German depiction of it. Of course, I have not bought any of Rita Berman's books. I do have them on my wish list. I just have to make a decision. There's so many of them, and I can't afford to get them all, so I'll make a decision at some point and pick one, but I may wait until this one comes out, but I do want them all. Then I'm just going to go back over it with the tan. I'm going to actually take some of this burnt sienna and just extend this edge here out a little bit. I'm not going to do it in the chocolate because I want it to be the lighter of the browns on that side of the boat because of the starlight and that sort of thing that's coming down on top of it. where this side of the boat is darker. So I want this side of the boat to be darker. Alright, then we're going to take the maple, and hopefully you're still in screen. And we're just going to fill that in, make it a little darker. Make sure that we have all the little bits. Now these ones here are very small little pictures, as you may be aware, but they are extremely detailed, so they may take a little bit longer to get done than I would like. So I'm going to try to do it quickly and still make them pretty. So I'm going in with the burnt sienna on the orange, oars, words are hard, on the oars, and I'm just going to go with chocolate down the edges, as well as the edge of the paddle here. And just darken that up a little bit. Okay, then we're going to take that burnt sienna again. And as you can probably figure out, I'm going to be doing all the wood things first because I've got those colors in my hand. So might as well get them all done at the same time, right? So now I'm going to take the maple and I'm going to go through the area here. And do the dock. And this is just the base coat. And then we're going to take the burnt sienna and we're going to go around the edges and through any of those areas that we want to be darker, extending it out so that when we put the dark in, it's not completely taken over. Leaving a little bit of that light wood for when the light is hitting it from the stars above. I don't know why this boat's just sitting here at the dock. Nice moonlight, stars in the sky. I'd be out in the water. Well, maybe. I'm not much of one for boats, but if you like boats and moonlit, starlit skies, you would think that it'd be out on the water, but maybe everybody's home sleeping. It's the quiet time where all you hear is the water. I love that time of day. Nobody else is around, just the water. Alright, I'm going to turn you again here so I can get into this area a little bit harder. I'm pressing just a touch harder just to get that edge a little bit darker. Where it's covered in the sand here. Alright, I'm going to take the burnt sienna and I'm just going to extend out just a touch past that. And then we're going to take the maple again and just blend it all together. Like that. And there we have our little dock and our little boat all done. Now we're going to do the sand. So we need the sand tones, which I think Sun-Kissed would work really well for the sand. I'm going into the water with it very lightly. So when I do the watercolor over top, it'll look like the sand, like the shore, and the water's hitting the sand on top of the sand. Okay. Now we're going to take a little bit of golden yellow, I think, maybe. Let's see. No. Nope, we're going to go a different direction. We're going to take a little bit of honey brown and do our shadow areas here. We're going to go back in with the Sun-Kissed and blend it in a little bit. I'm not going to go over top of the areas that are going to be under the water because I want that to be fairly light with the water on top of it. Alright, so there's our browns all done. Oh, greens are right up here on the top, so let's do that. Let's take some eucalyptus tree. And I think I'm going to have to sharpen this one. Ah! I'm sharpening them. Take a bit of eucalyptus tree. Get those trees out of the way. And then we'll do some water and some grass. So I'm just going to go in to those really dark areas where the tree overlaps. So as you can see, they have a very good variety of colors, and they are laying down quite nicely and very, very quickly. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the pencil. You know, I could hold it back here and put a little bit less pressure on it, but I'm not applying a whole bunch of pressure on it. Now I am going to darken this area here because the artist has put in a little bit of shadowing there. Just going to extend that down a bit. Now typically most people would put in the light areas first, but because this is a tree and I want it to be a bit darker in some areas, but I want that bright green tree color to show through, I put down the dark first and then I go over it with the light and lighten it up a little bit. Of course, there are no rules and regulations to coloring. You do whatever makes you happy and whatever works for you. This is just one of the ways that works well for me in making sure that the trees are a nice bright green color. Now I'm going in with Golf Course, another really interesting name. And I'm just putting it very, very lightly on one side, darker on the other. And then I'm going to go in with jungle, no, I'm going to go in with apple green. And blend this edge in to those other greens. This paper is a little bit toothier than the paper that I normally use. So I'm getting a bit of a scratchy sound, but it's not from the pencils, it's the paper. This paper works really nicely for faces and that sort of thing, because you can put the white on it and it just stands right out. And it just makes doing highlights so much easier. Now this little one, I'm just going to go over the entire thing with the golf course, but I'm going to put a little bit more pressure on this back side here, and then I'm going to go over the entire thing, putting the higher pressure on the front and then just feathering it into that back, making it lighter. This one as well, just going to take the jungle green, or the golf course green. Another one I like to use is called jungle green. It works really well for the lighter shades and leaves. And then I'm just going to feather it in, just doing really lightly where I've done darker, harder on the other side. And then we're going to take the apple green and do harder on this side, feathering it into the other side. Okay. Now for our aquatic colors, I want a dark one first, so we want this one here. And this one is Green Mermaid. So I'm going to take Green Mermaid and I'm going to put it in the darkest of areas. So under the bridge, in the deeper areas here, under the trees, following that line a little bit. Definitely under the boat, under the dock here. Excuse me. Under this tree. Basically, I'm following the lines that the artist has provided, as well as going in and putting in just a little bit in areas that I think would be darker due to depth and that sort of thing. This is a little bit of a wave here. There we go. And then we're going to take Caribbean Holiday. I think that's what that says. Yeah, Caribbean Holiday. And we're just going to very lightly go down the river with it. And into the pond, lake. whatever you want to call it. Just extending that darker aquatic color out. Which one was that? This one was Green Mermaid, that's right. Doing that little area into making it a little bit bigger. And then we're going to take Blue Lagoon and we're just going to go right over top of everything, blending it all together and putting that little bit of blue in there. Making sure that we're going over top of the sand areas, making them have a blue hue to them. Like I said, I'm just doing this very, very quickly. Okay. And then we want avocado green. Sharpen it a bit. And we want golf course green. So the golf course green, we're just going to do the little flicks here for the grass. And then we're going to go over it with the avocado green. And I'm doing this very, very lightly because after I've got the avocado green down, I'm going to go through and add some shadows. And I'll do that with a darker green. I'll do that with the jungle. Actually, I'll do that with just green, straight green. And we'll put in some shadow colors here. Right on top. And there we have our grass. I'm just going to go back over it with the avocado green. Alright, I like that. Now we're going to take pavement gray. And we're going to do the inside of the tunnel here. And down its side here. Alright, and then we're going to take, I think it's this one, maybe. Let's see, I'm going to take caramel, and we're going to do the bricks. And then we're going to take a little bit of ruby brown, just go into them just a little bit. They're so small that it really doesn't make a difference, but my eye says this should be this way. Okay, and then we're going to take the pavement gray again, and we're just going to fill that all in. Just all willy-nilly here. And then we're going to take this one, I think. Nope, that's dark brown. I'm going to take cool gray. And we're going to go into our shadowy areas here. And get those all done up here. Then we're going to take our pavement gray again, and we're just going to tie into that. Now the cool gray, of course, is a lighter, it's got a little bit more blue to it, where the pavement gray has a little bit more brown to it, which is perfectly fine to combine the two, because the dark shadow areas that we're putting them together into. And of course, because there is no right and wrong. Alright, so now we're going to do the mountains. Let's see, I think I want this one. Maybe not. Okay. They're the same one, huh? So this one must belong in the other set. Trying to figure out here. I think seal gray is what we want to start with. So we're going to start with some seal gray. On the mountains here. Give it a bit of a sharpen. As well as into the clouds here. Okay, and then we want a little bit of silver gray here for the clouds. I'm going to take a bit more of this seal gray here. And that's the great thing about color is if you just start off with a lighter layer, you can determine later how much more you want to add. You know, if I wanted to make this cloud very angry type of cloud, I can just add a lot of the darker gray. And adding that darker gray over top of the lighter stuff does tone it down quite a bit. And then going back over it with your lighter tones it down a lot. And spreads it out, makes it all even and pretty. Alright. Now we're going to put some here. As well as some here in the areas that are going to be white from the snow. And then we're going to take this one here, I think. Yeah, and take some pavement gray. And we're just going to do that. Some warm gray here. Just making that area a little bit darker. This one here I'm going to do in warm gray. Same with this one here. And we're going to take a little bit of silver gray and blend it all together. Alright. And now we need the black. Trying to not cover up too much of the sky. Too heavily, because I'm going to be adding the stars and some glow from those stars. So if I wanted to, of course, I could use a heavy hand like I'm going to do here and just make it solid black. Where on the other areas above the clouds there, where the stars are a little bit more prominent, I'm lightening my hand a little bit and making it more of a gray black, like up here. So that when I do go through and I put the stars in, I have the ability to put that yellow over top of the black and give that glow. Like so. And I'll show you that here in just a moment. Just making sure I get all the sky covered up here. Make sure I'm getting the really, really dark areas. Oh, that was a part of the mountain. Oops. In my vigor to make it dark, I made it really dark. And I colored the mountain. So let's see how well they erase. Now, because it's such a small area, I don't want to use my big eraser. So I'm just going to take my Schpirerr Farben, or not, my Faber-Castell, not my Schpirerr Farben, Faber-Castell eraser. And I'm just going to erase that black. And then it goes back to the gray. Very cool. All right, now we're going to take some white. And we're going to go into this area here. Drag that gray in a bit. Make the mountaintops white. Make the snow white. Then we're going to go around a couple of these edges of the cloud and make them white. And then we're going to take Bumblebee, and we're going to do our stars. Now I'm going to take the Bumblebee and I'm going to go around the stars as well, just to give it that shine. And for these smaller ones, I might actually grab a darker yellow. I don't know. I think it'll be fine. And then these areas where I expect them to be a little bit of reflection. Let me do that. Alright, now we're going to take Hot Sun, and we're just going to go and extend that Bumblebee out a little bit because I don't think that was bright enough. Alright, there's a couple of little black ones down here. I don't know why they're black, but they are. And I think that's it for stars. The rest are just little spots. Alright, so there is our little picture done with the Schpirerr Farben colored pencils, and we have touched pretty much every family except for the reds in this picture. They have laid down quite nicely and quite quickly for the detail in this page. They do erase quite nicely. They do color quite nicely. I'm just looking for my blender pencil here so that I can show you how well they blend. So this is the Caran d'Ache blender, and we're going to blend the sky area. And I put a very light layer down in this sky area, so they do blend quite well into there. And they blend very well with themselves, which is, you know, always preferable unless you find that your color is at the point where you want it to be and you don't want to lighten it or you don't want to darken it. Those are usually the areas where I'll use the colorless blender the most, or if they don't blend well together. If I find that they're not blending nicely together, I'll use the blender to blend them together. But typically I prefer to use the lighter tone in the picture or the area that I'm coloring. Sometimes, especially if I just want to protect the colors, say I want to use watercolor on something I know is not water soluble, or know is water soluble, I should say, or isn't supposed to be, but I know it does move with water, I will use the Caran d'Ache blender over top of that, just to give it that added little bit of protection. Because, yeah, once the Caran d'Ache blender is on top of it, it ain't moving nowhere. So far, from what I've found, anyway. I'll say that, and the next thing you know, I've got 6 billion people telling me it moves. It is possible to move it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but so far I have not found that once you put the Caran d'Ache blender on it, that things move around. So, all right, so there is our cute little picture all done. And these are, like I said, the Schpirerr Farben colored pencils. They are a much larger set now than they used to be. And of course they are wonderful, and I just love my Schpirerr Farbens. I need to get another set just for backups because, yeah, nah, maybe not. It'll be a while before I use these up, so. All right, guys. Of course, I will leave a link in the description below for the Schpirerr Farben colored pencils. Schpirerr Farben. I think I'm pronouncing that right now. I used to call them Schpirerr Farben. It's Schpirerr Farben. It's a mouthful. And they do color beautifully. So with that, I want to say thank you all very much for watching. Of course, I will be back in a little while with the hug of the day. So I'll show you what we're going to do for the hug of the day. I am going to do a separate video for it because otherwise this one is going to be an hour and a half long. But I will do a separate video for it. And today's hug is bug hug. We're going to do a bug hug. So today's hug is the bug hug. So we will be doing a bug hug. Yesterday we did a wonderful polar bear hug. There's our polar bear hug. Isn't it cute? And of course on Saturday, maybe I'll switch to the main camera so you can actually see what I'm showing you. On Saturday we did the unicorn hug. So far we have done 11 hugs. Today will be number 12, and I will be doing a separate video just for the hug. And I will probably be using shuttle art colored pencils for it. So we'll see how those deal with this paper. All right, guys, until then, thank you all very much for watching. Of course, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Otherwise, remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Until next time, bye-bye for now.